Hey there, I'm Greg, and I'm just a dad who games. Today I'm proudly presenting the 10th and final installment of Sims Homes of the 20th Century with the 1990s McMansion. Named for the iconic fast food chain, these homes started popping up all over the place as young, successful couples demanded excessive symbolism of their excessive wealth. Ironically, these monstrosities, in addition to the often shoddy outcomes of having rushed to build, tended to use lower quality materials to make the massiveness a reality. It's not just the size that matters here, though. A McMansion also suffers from indecisiveness. And what I mean is that they tend to be made up of multiple different angles, irregular room sizes, shapes, and location, and of course, windows of varying shapes and sizes. So obviously, it was immensely fun to come up with a floor plan that I felt would best convey the massively overdramatic nature of these bloated symbols of wealth. I can think of so many better uses for money, like the plan my wife and I have for the future. Buying a piece of land in the middle of the country where no highways or congested metropolises, or is it metropoli? Either way, congested cities, and then build a modest tiny home for her and I to live. I'd work from home, have everything delivered, and just live in peace as if the rest of the world didn't exist. And a wall, a huge wall, to surround the entirety of our estate. We need to be ready for the downfall of humanity and civilization, and we want to make sure our compound, I mean home, is protected. But even if they managed to get past the first wall, any would-be infiltrators would then have to face a 100-foot wide water-filled trench patrolled by ill-tempered hippos. But I'll save those details for my dream home speed build. Anyway, this video is only going to be part speed build, simply because this build took a tremendous amount of time to complete. It would rival my Castlevania speed build video in length, and honestly, half of the entire video was me cycling through every combination of furniture and color swatches until I ended up with the right presentation of a 1990s classic. So, because the actual building of this was so convoluted, especially the roofs, I've included the entire speed build of the shell itself. After it's built, we'll switch over to an interior tour of the entire house to show you what I think of when I think of the 1990s. Which, well, to say 1990s is for me to say my adolescence. It was in 1992 that I started middle school, and unfortunately for me, living my early life with undiagnosed major depressive disorder, it was all downhill from there. Yeah, this might get a little melodramatic, but it's kind of fitting given the over-the-top nature of the McMansion. So, where I grew up, we had an elementary school in our neighborhood that fed the two regional middle schools and high schools, east and west. Before middle school, all I had ever known were the kids from my neighborhood as well as the adjacent subdivision. Well, when middle school started, my socially anxious self had to overcome three hurdles. One, say goodbye to all of my friends. My closest elementary school friends lived in the adjacent neighborhood, but they were on the other side of the district line. They all went to the other side school. No one came with me. I mean, I had my neighborhood friends, but I had grown apart from them because I really had only become friends with them because they all had older brothers who were friends with my brother. And my brother's a douche. So, two. Our elementary school was one of many in our region. There were hundreds of new kids to meet. I'm sure you can imagine how overwhelming it was for me. 3. As I had implied, my brother already had walked these walls, and his legacy preceded me. He was that bro douche, do stupid boy things, bully nerds, and, well, you know, be absolutely popular. Trying to be an introverted and extremely sensitive person whilst trying to stand out from under my brother's shadow was tough. Yeah, those brothers of my brother's fleet of douche canoes immediately picked up on my complete polar opposite nature to my brother, and picked on me from there on. I mean, my brother would even hear about it, and then tease me further at home. Oh yeah. Thus began my adolescent adventures equipped only with the knowledge that I was a feminine loser who plays pretend and still plays with toys. I was a girl, according to my parents, because I cried at sad and beautiful things, appreciated colors, loved female vocalists, and, well, excelled at anything creative, drawing especially. Well, yeah, my childhood wasn't all that hot in hindsight, and I've honestly cut my family completely out of my life, which has been the absolute best move I've ever chosen to make. But I made it through middle school with a light at the end of the tunnel. Moving to a totally different state in a totally different community with absolutely no ties to the loser status I had in middle school. This is the point where I grew out my hair, learned guitar, and was finally allowed to wear jeans. Yeah, finally allowed to wear jeans. That's a totally another story. And I've already detailed how the start of my high school experience panned out. It 100% was not the new life I had hoped for, with having been labeled as gay with the name Tinkerbell bestowed upon me on the first day of school in my first scheduled class of my first high school experience. Okay, I only had one high school experience. I just added the first there because it kind of fit with the whole rhythm of the sentence. Anyway, but yet again, I somehow made it through. And honestly, it was all because of a single teacher. She was that teacher that you always hear exists in schools. The teacher who can read you like a book, immediately know your whole life story without you ever having said a word. She knew the emotional neglect I had been facing. She knew the confused and terrified teen I had evolved into, as much as she witnessed the relentless bullying. Without putting too fine a point on it, she became my mother. She treated me like a son and helped me see that I wasn't at all a hopeless case, and that I could rise up past it and achieve great things. So it was clear to me, when it came time to prepare for college, what I was to become. A teacher. A math teacher. Yeah, I started out as a math teacher, but after having taken a writing arts class, English literature completely hijacked my pedagogical trajectory, and I became an English teacher undergrad. And off I went to college, living at home to save money, to pursue a double major in what my father called basket weaving for its lacking lucrative potential, but what I called English and secondary education. And I felt myself start to evolve into the real person I was supposed to be, constantly being reminded by my unrelenting, bullying, and guilt-tripping parents and brother of why I wanted to become a teacher, to assure that all students are supported in the unparalleled challenges found in adolescence. Moreover, the protection of those that have to deal with abuse. But I have to come right out and say it. I really didn't learn anything in college about teaching that really helped me aside from two things. One, public speaking confidence, which I'm sure you could imagine was incredibly tough for me. And two, that there are pages upon pages of legally binding documents that a teacher has to deal with every day, like so much paperwork, where being a secretary seemed to have been the primary role of a teacher, second to actually providing an education to teens. However, I can specifically remember the single event that led to my ability to overcome my public speaking challenges, because it was the first time I felt what I had only heard about previously: confidence in myself. I mean, that came and went for a while as I experienced 10 years of teaching, but this singular exposure to it got me hooked to that feeling, and I wanted more. Teaching gives you that rush of confidence unmatched by any other. So what was this event of such life-changing proportions? A mini lesson I taught my entire secondary education class on iambic pentameter. Like, we each had to develop a lesson plan for our respective content areas. We put it all together as teachers are trained to do, and then we were each to present this lesson by actually executing it and teaching it to the class. I had the entire class drum the off, unstressed, and on, stressed beats of the rhythm. Everyone was smiling and enjoying Shakespeare while drumming and having fun. The dean of the school just happened to be walking by in the hallway and listened in. When my lesson was complete, she came in to interrupt the class and call attention to how she had never seen a teacher so easily engage the entire classroom of 30. It was an outstanding feeling, and doubly so when I got to sit down with her and talk about my natural talent to teach. It was an amazing feeling, and despite all of the ups and downs of the teaching career, which I always emphasize were never bad because of students, they are always the best part of teaching. I got to feel that amazing feeling every day I welcomed my students to my class. Well, I think I've gone on long enough recounting how my literally depressing 90s adventure led to my success as a teacher, and that you have appreciated the effort I took in building this 1990s McMansion. It was a majorly epic undertaking, but it has been an outstanding finale to my Sims Homes of the 20th Century build. Please be sure to like this video if you did. And while my video releases might start to be more spaced out with my finally securing a full-time job, I will be making more content constantly. Be sure to subscribe to be notified, and also catch me live on Twitch or follow me on Twitter. This is only the beginning to my content creating adventure, and I thank you for helping me to make all of this possible. I'm truly happy that you enjoy my videos, so be sure to leave a comment to let me know if this is the kind of content you like to see from me. But until then, and until the next, have a day.